video, I'm going to show you how to make student conference forms inside of Google Forms and how to have those reports automatically sent to students and or their guardians if you want to, and how we can automatically organize those for future references. I want to say that this might take a few steps and it might look like a lot at the beginning, but after you get it set up once, it's going to be really easy to maintain. So let's go ahead and let's get started. First thing that we will need is a Google form, and you will also want to have your Google Classroom open just so you can easily obtain the links to the assignments. On the Google form, and I'm going to give you a way to make a copy of this at the end, and you do not have to set your Google form up exactly like mine. You can use whatever questions you want. These are just pretty generic. What's the child's name? If you only have like 20 some kids in your class, you may want to even have that just be a drop down menu. But if you have 100 plus kids that you're servicing, you probably want to have that short answer text, or you could make a Google form for each class that you have. Totally up to you. One of the most important questions that we want to put on our Google form is we want to make sure that we include an email address. So I'm going to click the plus sign, and here I'm going to type in guardian email address because I'm just going to send it to the guardian. And you might be thinking, well, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to remember all 130 kids and their guardians and their email addresses. And in just a few minutes, I want to show you how we can have that automatically be put in there for you so you won't have to remember those artifacts every time. But that step's super important, and you can even put guardian email address and student email address if you want to. And if you want this to go to anybody else too, like if they have like a case manager or something, you could technically put that in there, and it would automatically send to whoever you put. And I put was, what assignments are they missing? I might go in here and take whatever I've got on my assignments, like using Google Calendar and Tasks. I've got mine numbered, so I'm just going to put number 1. I could put the title there if I want to, but just to make it be easier for the students and the kids, I'm going to click the 3 dots and click copy link. You could keep this running, like every time that you make a new assignment, you could just pop it into the Google form. It'll be super simple for you to do that. And that way you don't have so much to do at one time. Or if you just want to type into each text box, like what assignments they're missing, you could do that. I think that this way is just going to save you some time in the long run. So I click those 3 dots, click copy link, and I could put as many assignments as I want to on there. So just to show you, like whenever you send the report, it's going to make that link be clickable. Right now on our editing end, it does not look clickable, but it will be there. And something to keep in mind, if they click on it and their child is not logged in on their device that they click on, it's going to say that they don't have access. So they do need to be logged in as the student. So just to save some time, I went ahead and put in a couple of more questions. You could literally put anything you want to in here. Now, this could be a form that you use to talk one-on-one with kids, or it could just be a form that you as a teacher are using to collect data or to send to parents and students. This is going to be magical for you all because it's going to be collecting that data for you. And if you've used Google Forms before, you know that whenever you do these, you're going to have these nice charts on the responses page. All right, so in this part, we want to click on responses, and we want to go to our spreadsheet. This is a different spreadsheet than the one that I mentioned before. We'll get to that one. But this one is where all of your answers are going to go to whenever you have a form. You technically never have to look at this if you don't want to, but this is how we go in and we set up those automatic emails whenever we fill out a form. So I'm going to click on it. It says create a new spreadsheet. Yes. Click create. And I have a nice blank spreadsheet with all of my questions up here at the top. Okay. So I need to go to add-ons. And if you don't already have the Google Sheet add-on Autocrat, you want to click Get Add-ons. Okay, you can see it on mine. It's yellow and blue, and I've already got it installed. If yours has that check mark, then you do too. If it's not showing up here, go to Search Apps and type in Autocrat. It's one word, Autocrat. And you will click on it. And where mine says uninstall, yours would be blue and it would say install, and you just add it and it will show up. It will ask you for permission to talk to your Google Drive. You can give it permission. So now the next time that we click on add-ons, you're going to see Autocrat in that drop-down menu. Just put your mouse over top of that and go over to where it says launch and click right there. And it's going to open up. When you get to step 2, it's going to ask you to choose a template, and you will see these whenever you send those automatic emails. This is what it's going to send to the folks at home with your student. So the create an example is not good. If you click that, it doesn't even put your questions on there. You still have to go in there and change it. I recommend using one, and I'm going to create an example, and I will show that to you, and we'll give you access to an editable copy of that.
To find an editable copy of this form, go to bit.ly/FCS It is cap sensitive.
All right, so here is the template that I've made. I will make sure that underneath this video, there is a link that will force a copy for you. These little carrots are actually the questions from your Google form. And Autocrat is going to automatically force the answer that you put in from your Google form into this template. The email address will be your email address because we have the Google form set up to collect the email, and it will be your email address that the parents or the guardians will see. And what is the child's name will be replaced with, if I was filling one out for Audrey, it would say form for Audrey Pollard. And everything within these carrots, the carrots won't show, but your answers will. It'll automatically be there. And it's going to automatically send that to the guardians or to the students or whoever it is that you are wanting to send it to. So I'm going to go back over to my Google Sheet. Now that I've got that created, or if you make a copy, now that you've got your copy, you're going to click from Drive. It's going to bring up everything in your Drive. And if you don't see this file in your recents, then you can just do a search for whatever it is that you called it. If you made a copy of mine, if you look up feedback form for student conferences, you will find it. Okay, so I click on it and you'll see it's got a green apple if you use mine. Click on it and click select, and it's going to automatically pull that template into your Autocrat. Then click next whenever you see that it has been attached. And you're going to see step 3, map source data to template. Okay, so go through the list and make sure that all of the drop-down boxes have the correct question pulled to them. Notice that this one's blank. I need to do my drop-down menu, and where it says what is the child's name, I want to map that. So you just want this to match Yes. And click next. Now the file name is what it's going to show the students and how it's going to send it. So for me, I always like to use this little arrow here and go over and find the factor that gives the name of who I am responding to there. Put student conference form. Now, just like before, you do not have to use what I title it, but those carets will bring in the child's name. You have the ability to make it share as a Google Doc, or it could make that Google Doc be a PDF, which is typically what I like. That way they can't, it's just a little bit cleaner looking, but that's just a preference and you can pick whichever one you want. And I'm going to click next. And now it's asking me where I want to save this form when it's created. If you are more organized than me, you might want to go ahead and go to your drive and click new and make a folder for all of these forms to go into. That way they're not just floating around inside of your Google Drive. So I'm going to make a folder. I'm going to click new. And then when that menu appears, I'm going to select folder. So the very first option to create a new folder. I'm going to give it a title. And once I have it titled whatever it is that I want, I'm going to click create. And now that I have my folder ready, I'm going to go back over to my sheet and choose that destination. So I'm going to choose a folder that I want for this to go into, which will be the folder that we just created. And mine showed up right there at the top. You can scroll through and find yours, or you could use that search bar if you need to. When you find it, click select. I'm going to delete my drive out. That way it just goes to that folder to help keep me organized. And I'm going to click next. I'm going to skip this part for now. If you're interested in having individual folders for individual children or individual classes, I'm going to make a separate video for that. So I'm just going to skip that part for now. I'm going to skip this part. I don't need it. But when I get to step 8, that's how we're going to share the document with the guardians or with the student. All right, we are almost done. So yes, we want to share the document. Do we want to share it as a PDF? We do, because that's what I picked from before. Whatever you picked before, if you pick Google Doc, it's going to have Google Doc here. And it's going to say, do you want to allow collaborators to reshare? I'm just going to click no on that just because, but that doesn't really matter. I don't think students are going to share with other students what you said about themselves, but clicking no just helps me feel better. And you can have it sent from a generic no reply email address if you want to, where these are going to go to guardians or to students. I would leave this as saying no. That way, when they press reply to the email, they can email directly back to you as the teacher. Okay, so it's asking, who do we want to send this to? So we have just a blank email here. I'm going to click my blue arrow or my blue menu thingy again, and I'm going to select guardian email addresses, and I'm just going to paste that directly there. I'm going to click it again because for this form I had also put the student, so I'm going to paste the student email in the carbon copy section there. You don't have to have both. You can have as many as you want. If you want to have multiples, you can press the comma. And if you need to send these to others as well, you can even blind carbon copy. You want to give it a subject, so I might call this the child's feedback from teacher, something like that. And you can have your message typed down here. So on mine, I just typed hi. Attached to this email, you will find notes from our student conference. This feedback is for, what is the child's name? Science grade. Please click the link in order to see the file. Thank you so much, Mrs. Pollard. So I think it's important if you teach middle school or high school to include what subject it is that you teach, because parents and guardians are juggling a lot and they may not recognize your name right off the bat. Nothing personal, I'm sure. So then I'm going to click next, and that's going to be the email that it sends to whoever that I put into my receiving box. And now on to the very last part. Step 9. Add or remove job triggers. You want to run this form on a trigger. That means that as soon as you hit submit on a Google form, it's going to automatically run the program Autocrat, and it will automatically send that email for you, and you do not have to worry about remembering it. So you can press save, and it's going to do its magic. And once you see that the existing job has the title of what you just created on it, you can click the X, and you will see that your sheet now has some new cells. You have your merge doc and all of that stuff. You technically do not have to look at this form ever again unless something messes up and you get an email saying Autocrat couldn't run. That typically doesn't happen unless you change the form. If you change your Google form, if you go back in and add a question or change any of the words, it can mess your Autocrat up. So make sure that you have your form created the way that you want. And if you ever need to go in and edit your Autocrat, just go back to the sheets, go to add-ons and Autocrat and click launch. And you will want to update your template from your Google Doc. And you will also want to edit your Autocrat job. So to edit the Autocrat job, you would just click the pencil and it would take you back to where we were. And you could just go through there. You need to make sure that you just update your maps. All right, so that is it for the basic parts. I'm going to make a second video that will show you how to automatically have guardians' email addresses in there and the students' email addresses already pre-filled. If you are interested in that video, it will be available on my channel, and I will also put it in the comment section of this video.